Hi all. In this video, we will discuss about fallopian tubes. The uterine tube is otherwise called fallopian tubes, oviducts or salpinx. They are muscular J-shaped tubes found in female reproductive tract. They lie in upper border of broad ligament extending laterally from the uterus, opening to the abdominal cavity near the ovaries. This video will look at the function, parts, vasculature and innervation of fallopian tube as well as any clinical relevance. This picture will tell you about the structures of female reproductive system. Here you can see fallopian tubes on both sides, ovaries on both sides, uterus, cervix and vagina. About the functions of fallopian tube. The main function of uterine tube is to assist in the transfer and transport of ovum from the ovary to the uterus. The ultrastructure of uterine tube facilitates the movement of female gamete. The ultrastructure includes the inner mucosa is lined with ciliated columnar epithelial cells and PEG cells which are non-ciliated secretory cells. They warp the ovum towards the uterus and supply it with nutrients. The smooth muscle layer contracts to assist with the transportation of ovum and sperm. The muscle is sensitive to sex steroids and thus peristalsis is greatest when estrogen levels are very high. The wall of uterine tube consists of inner mucosal layer which is lined with the ciliated columnar epithelial cells and PEG cells which are non-ciliated. And also there is a smooth muscle layer which contracts to assist in the transportation of ovum. About its anatomical structure. The fallopian tube is about 10 cm long and it is described as having 4 parts, lateral to medial. Fimbriae, infundibulum, ampulla and isthmus. The fimbriae are finger-like ciliated projection which capture the ovum from the surface of ovary. Second part is infundibulum. It is a funnel-shaped opening near the ovary to which the fimbriae are attached. Third part is ampulla. It is a widest section of uterine tubes. Fertilization usually occurs here. Isthmus. It is a narrowed section of the uterine tube connecting the ampulla to the uterine cavity. In this picture you can see the 4 parts mentioned. This is the fimbriae. These are the finger-like projection. They catch the ovum from the ovary. This is the funnel-shaped portion called infundibulum. This is the widest section of uterine tube where fertilization occurs and that's called ampulla. This is the isthmus, the part which connects the ampulla to the uterine cavity. About the vascular supply and lymphatics. The arterial supply is via uterine and ovarian artery. You can see here, this is the uterine artery supplying the medial part of uterine tube and the ovarian artery supplying the rest of the uterine tube. The venous drainage is via uterine and ovarian veins. The lymphatic vein drainage is into iliac, sacral and aortic lymph nodes. About its innervation, the uterine segment receives both sympathetic and parasympathetic innervation from ovarian and uterine plexus. Sensory afferent fibers run from T11 to L1. About the clinical relevance or application of structure of phalanx in the clinical setting. There is a condition called salpingitis. It is the inflammation of uterine tube. The uterine tube or fallopian tube is otherwise called a salpinx. So its inflammation is called a salpingitis, usually caused by bacterial infection. Ectopic pregnancy. Normally the pregnancy occurs in the uterine cavity. When the pregnancy occurs outside of uterine cavity, that is called a ectopic pregnancy. The most common or one of the most common place of ectopic pregnancy is uterine tube. Next, ligation of uterine tube. Surgical cutting and ligation of uterine tube is a method of sterilization. The oocyte or ovum is unable to pass into the uterus and therefore cannot progress to pregnancy. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and share. This is the end of this video.